Someone was so disrespectful and now they feel disrespected. They were so disrespectful, okay, towards you. And now, I mean, it's like you turned a new leaf. I feel like you were really, I don't know, it's almost like you were wanting things to work even with the disrespect. You would gravitate to the good things in the person, which is not a bad trait. However, when you're being disrespected and you know that the person has narcissistic tendencies and they could be a narc, there's not much you could do with that, because I mean, all of us have a little bit of that energy within us. It's just that some can't control it. Some don't even know when to use it. They just have it's turned on all the time. And those are the ones who will do anything for power, even if they have to crush other people, even if they have to steal from other people, even if they have to mimic other people. It's literally, they will do anything for power. I just heard a hoe for power. What? I've never said or thought of that before. But they will pass themselves along to whoever they feel has the power, and they'll try to take it from them to, you know what it reminds me of? Like, it reminds me of Ursula when she wanted the Little Mermaid's voice. So she was like, I'll give you this and you give me that. You want feet? Well, then you can't talk no more. I'm like, damn, I want both. Like, you just gonna take my voice and then give me feet, but I want both. Why you gotta take, why you gotta take my stuff? But that's the energy that I'm getting. It's like these energies that you encountered in your life, they would give you something that wasn't as valuable as what you gave them. Okay, like your energy is very valuable, because if you don't have any energy to use, then you're gonna be kind of like useless to yourself, because if you don't have energy for yourself, then that means that you're completely drained, and when it's time for you to do something for you, you don't have any energy left. So this person was like sucking your energy dry. Energy is life, so it's like they taking your whole life away. In that case, once you realize that, you realize the truth. I heard you planted a mustard seed and it grew so beautifully. Good day, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome to Milk Honey Rose. I am Mystic Alchemy. Thank you for being here. So yeah, it was hard for you though to hold back from this person, because when they're good to you, they're really good to you. Whoever this person was, like, they had you on a roller coaster ride, up and down, up and down. So when it was up, but when it went down, I feel like I heard dishes being thrown, a lot of loud arguments, slammed doors. It was like excessively ridiculous, and you knew it was, and you were tired of it. You were like, why am I staying with this person? And they really like not the best option for me. Why am I doing this? Once you really had to sit down with yourself, you recognize that you don't need to stay there with that person, and you realize that it was difficult for you to leave because maybe you didn't want to be alone. Maybe it was like a feeling where you were nervous of the change, because sometimes, unfortunately, there's times when we could get used to toxicity and just stay and deal with somebody treating you like you ain't worth a dime or a nickel, not even a penny, when really you're worth more than gold. So you recognize your worth and you say, I'm fighting back because I don't have no time. And I'm not talking about physical. Hopefully it wasn't physical fighting back, but it was more so like spiritually fighting back, knowing what type of relationship you deserve and recognizing when somebody is not going to move from assholia because they were being very assholish towards you. Okay. And so if that's where they want to live, you do not have to be a resident there with them. Okay, so this relationship was actually an illusion of happiness, just off the strength of being with someone and having a desire to be in a relationship. It's just that the relationships where this has happened to you, where you were very disrespected on various occasions, you realize that that is not what you truly desire in a relationship. So it's almost like when you sat down with yourself, you one day a reality check hits you and you recognize that you actually have a decision that you can make to move along away from such situations, to allow space for your true divine union to come through, because there are false twins out here, and when you meet them they will feel like that's the person for you. However, it is not. And you often, well, for some people, they often realize that once they actually move in with the person, you know. And once something serious happens, and then you kind of like see how they're there for you or not there for you, and then it's like, oh, well, you must have, you know, different intentions that are not in alignment with mine. However, when you ask, Spirit is like saying, when you ask the right questions early on, you'll get the answers you want, even if you don't really want them, you know, because sometimes you'll ask a question hoping to get the answer that you hope to receive from this person, and you'll receive the truth, and then you won't like the truth that they share with you, and you'll recognize that that's not your person based off of their perspective. And that's okay. It's actually better that way, because you save time and energy by not moving forward with this person that you thought was the one for you. And it's really about perspective. How does this person's mind work? How do they see the world? How do they see relationships? How do they see themselves? You know, getting those questions answered from a potential partner, a potential spouse, or someone that you're dating, it really clears the smoke. It clears the smoke and mirrors, you know, because they're deep questions that are not too intrusive. However, you do get results based on what you're looking for when it comes to having a better understanding of a person and what they believe to be true in their own life. If the beliefs are not in alignment, then it's not a good idea to be with that person, because they could drag you to a whole nother place that you were never meant to be. Okay, so the disrespect had to stop, and you made that decision for yourself. You realized the truth and you were honest about it. You didn't try to camouflage it, make excuses for it. You really were an adult about it, and you took an adult approach. It wasn't overly emotional, which when you make decisions, it's actually important not to be over emotional, because you can sometimes your heart could trick you. Okay, that's how I want to say it. Sometimes your heart could trick you, because you could want something to be right so bad that you go towards what you want as opposed to what you need based off of your heart. We can make bad choices with our heart. So that's why our heart must be light and our minds must be clear. If the heart is not right and the mind is not clear, then your throat chakra is going to be like blocked. It's going to have like, it's going to be like clogged, blocked, and there's another distorted. It's like things are going to come out your mouth that was never supposed to come out your mouth. You're going to be speaking from a place of emotion and not logic. Sometimes you need that logic. That's why we as humans, we have both masculine and feminine energy, because we must learn when to use which one, you know, even though depending on who you are, if you are, you know, a masculine, you're meant to be more in your masculine. If you are feminine, you're meant to be more in your feminine energy. The feminine energy should dominate a woman. The masculine energy should dominate a man. At least when I'm talking about individuals who are straight men and women. Okay, because you know that gets distorted when you go into the other realm of life and choices and all that. But that's not really what this message is about. And so making decisions from logic, from a logical space, is the best way to make decisions. Because, and sometimes, I mean, it's good to know how to use both, but you got to practice how to do that. And I feel like a lot of you have learned to do that. Like, you know where your emotions lie. You know when your emotions lie. When I just said that, I really meant like where they are, like how you are emotionally. But then when I said lie, I thought of deceit. Yes, our emotions can lie to us if we aren't able to analyze ourselves as if we are viewing someone else and not ourselves. If we could like step out of ourselves for a moment and look at the situation, it's very helpful for you to see the truth. When you're in a situation that's happening, you become over emotional and you can't make a logical decision because of your emotions taking control of you. So for you were able to have that sit down with self. Eventually you were able to do that, and you really saved yourself from a lot of trouble that could have happened in the future. And you fought for you. You did. You chose you, and you transformed yourself, and this person was not ready. Now you're happy. You're so much happier. So kudos to you, because you did the right thing for yourself. That's amazing. Many people get stuck in that space, but you didn't get stuck. You actually, you found your way out. I heard the escape room. You escaped from a very tricky, challenging situation, and it could have happened to you multiple times, but you did it because you've learned so much. You're so much more intelligent than you used to be when you were younger, because we have that moment in time where we're young and dumb. You're like, you know what, I was not even thinking right. I didn't even know how to think right. I didn't even know how to learn right. I didn't know what I was doing. And that happens to us because when we're young, we don't know what we're doing. We think we know, especially when you become teenagers. Oh my gosh, you think you know everything and you don't know not a bit of nothing. Okay? You think you know something, but you know not a bit of nothing. But yeah, so that is it for this message. And thank you for listening. Everything you do, do it with love. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hype up the video if you're feeling my vibe. Okay? Especially if this message resonates with you. And if you would like to book a healthy conversation or a reading with me, visit www.milkhoneyrose.org to do so. And also join the membership. And that is just to support me. Okay? Everything you do, do it with love. I'll see you in the next message.